Well, they're both getting involved then. Here we go then. We're going to stick with Group C. Rob Cross with a couple of points next to his name already in this group, but now it is over to Martin Lukeman and Peter Wright. Not sure what happened there. Well, Peter Wright, a runner-up here at the Grand Slam a few years ago, but last couple of years, well, he hasn't made it out of the group. Not had the best year, has he? Had some early exits at some of the big events, the World Grand Prix, the World Match Play as well. So how will he get on here up against Martin Lukeman, who's making his Grand Slam debut, came through a qualifier, did brilliantly actually to make it here. And believe it or not, well, these two have never met. So a first ever meeting between Peter Wright and Martin Lukeman. So which way will it go? To guide you through it, I'll hand you over to John Part and Rod Studd.
Thank you, Emma. Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Yes, it is the Grand Slam of Darts group stage. It is not a 90s revival night disco, but Peter Wright is in the house once more. He made his Grand Slam of Darts debut back in 2013, and this is the first year since then he's not seeded in the group. Rob Cross is the seed in this group. We just saw Voltage defeat Leonard Gates. So Peter Wright's 12th appearance at the Slam. 4 times he's gone out in the group stage, 3 times he's been the runner-up in 17, 19 and 21. And Martin Lukeman, who had to come through the qualifiers to get here, making his debut at the Slam, but goes off favourite because Peter Wright is so badly out of sorts, and Lukeman has the darts. Professor Part is here. Would you make Lukeman favourite, John Part?
You know, it is kind of tempting, but I still no. I think Peter Wright has got... He's always got that ability inside, you know, and we'll see what kind of start he gets. But I'd have to give him credit for being able to manage this and to try and put right a poor start from last year he had to Stowe Bunce, where he got shockingly beaten in his first match.
John Part, a proven past master in backing both horses in a 2-horse race. Martin Lukeman here has the darts, as I mentioned. Peter Wright has stuttered and spluttered. There was one oasis of darting delight amongst a desert of disappointment in 2024 when he beat Luke Littler in the final of a Eurotour event in Hildesheim. That was at the beginning of September, but apart from that, it's been pretty desperate stuff for Snakey in 2024. Probably a year, John, I think he'll be glad to see the back of. Although he could still turn it around, we know that.
He can. There's you know, the real business end, if you will, of the year. Start of next year with the World Championship. And I think Lukeman is the kind of opponent, the real threat that, if anything's going to jar it out of Peter Wright, is this sort of an opponent. And, he's in well behind here in this leg, but obviously Lukeman started it, so we won't panic too much. Might even get a little pressure on this throw. He does.
Might get a lot of pressure on the throw, John. Couldn't have put any more on there, could he? Let's have it right. He leaves 88. Lukeman, though, is on 68. 48 left. 16 leaves the double thereof. Martin Lukeman does not buckle and takes the opening leg on the throw. It does seem difficult at this moment in time to envisage Peter Wright landing one of the big pots at the end of the year, let alone the World Championship itself for a 3rd time in January. But I, for one, refuse to write Peter Wright off because he has dug deep many times. There's been times over the past few years when it seemed to be sliding away from him, and he's resurrected his career. World champion twice.
I think we're at a day and age where it's really just hard to say when or people's careers might end or not. I mean, I think things come and go, and Peter is certainly believing he can do it, but the realities of his results might take a burden on that belief.
The Premier League would have taken a burden, wouldn't it? He just never got started and was propping up the pile for the entire campaign. It was a really difficult time, and when you're having to play every week for 16 weeks and you're getting beat early on in those mini knockouts every week, it gets harder and harder and harder. But Peter endured. He's still here, still plugging away.
That Premier League, it's a creature where it's probably done players more harm than good being involved with it. It just can be so demoralizing if you're not winning. And that's why we value it so highly, though. It's such a test of consistency and stamina and just absolute desire to get through.
Without a doubt, John, and when you were playing in it and Mardell was playing it, there was only one man doing the winning. The rest of you were not winning.
Well, I can't argue with that too much. I mean, I never made it to the final night, but to watch.
Lovely darts from Martin Lukeman. To leave 36 after a dozen darts, to go 2 up, that would be, because Wright could do nothing about it for now. Double 18 would be a 13 dart leg if he converts. First dart. It's a 14 darter, but nonetheless, either way, it's 2-0 to Martin Lukeman. Rob Cross has already won the opening game of this group. That's Group C, by the way. He beat Lenny Gates 5 legs to 2, so good start for Voltage.
Flying along now, Lukeman.
36.
And that's what you want to do when you're in this situation. Up 2-0, you have the throw. You absolutely want to bury your opponent in the leg 3 with the throw, but Peter showing some fight.
140.
Martin Lukeman has 2 big quarter-final appearances to his name during his career. 2024 this year, lost in the quarters of the UK to the eventual winner Dimitri, and in the 22 quarters he reached in the Grand Prix as well in Leicester, when he lost to the Asp, who was the runner-up to Van Gerwen. So a couple of quarter-final appearances for the 39-year-old, now world ranked number 45. And this the 7th of the 8th games on this opening afternoon here at Aldersley in Wolverhampton. One to come, therefore, and the last match of this afternoon session is Ross Smith against Richie Edhouse, the recently crowned European champion.
And we've had our fair share of excellence in performance so far. More than could be asked for, really. We're not done yet.
And probably the highlights, John, Jan Van Veen against Josh Rock, Van Veen's win there, and Connor Scott's whitewashing of Dave Chisnell.
Yeah, quite a shock to a lot of people, but when you watched it, it was like, well, okay, that's quite a performance and quite a player in Connor Scott.
Yeah, there was no debate about that result. He wants double 18. Lukeman, no, he's 3-0 up. It's a 15-dart leg. And Martin Lukeman here rattling along with an average of 102 and change, having taken the first 3 legs of the match. And Peter Wright, the 3 times runner-up, in peril in his first game here. 2 of those runner-up finishes to Genwin Price in 2019 and 21. And 2017, Van Gerwen beat him in the final.
And a 140 punishes a 40 open. So it just continues on the misery of Peter Wright here, desperately knocking on the treble door and can't get one on this visit either.
Peter Wright has not had a dart at double in the match up to press. We're halfway through the 4th leg, well, almost halfway through. We're over halfway through now.
And if you'd offered to him before the match, they wouldn't have missed a dart at double in 4 legs. He probably would have took it.
Little doubt, John. We probably would have assumed that he'd have won at least a couple of those legs, if not 3 or 4.
But he's being absolutely hammered on the scoring front. And he's had little moments of looking like scoring, Peter, but nowhere near the consistency of Martin Lukeman in this. And it really does not bode well for Peter moving forward. I don't think it's going to get much easier in this group.
No, having to come back from a toweling in your first game is difficult in a 4-man group. The converse of that, of course, is if Martin Lukeman can really rub it in here and win 5-0 or 5-1, it's given his A, he's won a match, and B, it's given his leg difference a real shot in the arm as well.
Well, the 5-0 effectively, as a result of that leg difference, is as close as you can get to actually knocking someone out in this round robin format. It's almost, you might as well have.
It's a long way back from 0-5 in your first game, John.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see examples of people that lost 0-5 in their first match in a Grand Slam and got through, because I don't think there'd be many.
Well, one for the data analysts to look at later.
91.
I'll spend the rest of the evening looking into that, John. I'll come back to you. Lukeman has left tops here, and it would be a 16 dart leg. 14 and 15, the last two. Tops it is for Smash to really rub it in. In it goes.
Yeah, and it seems like and it was an easy break of throw, really does rub it in. And now Peter, for the sake of trying to stay alive with actual hope in the tournament, for the sake of dignity, would love to rally back and break back here.
I think Lukeman's gone 14, 14, 15, 16 here in terms of darts used to finish the legs.
And as we see, Peter's average just about 86. Against those sorts of legs, you are going to be in deep trouble and down 4-0. Just all so much a chore here for Peter. You know, started out well with the 140, but then 60 all around the edges, and hammered by that now by Lukeman. No finish, but Peter won't have one either after that 5 first start.
32.
Well, Peter Wright has the peacock plumage on his strides, but it is Martin Lukeman who's really showing off his talents on the stage this afternoon. 4-0 up, and with a 1-1-2 on offer here to wrap it up in 5 straight legs, the worst of which would be a 16 darter if he can nail this finish in 3. Needs the treble, gets the treble to leave double 16. Oh. Well, it's only a temporary reprieve, surely.
Well, the only peacockery we've seen from Peter Wright is the outfit. Although he might get a little strut if he could finish this and put off the inevitable, it seems. No treble 19 to leave bull.
64.
So to apply the coup de grace, Martin Lukeman wants double 16. And with a minimum of fuss, a devastating display, and Martin Lukeman smashes Peter Wright by 5 legs to 0. The ideal start for Lukeman on his Grand Slam of Darts debut. Peter Wright now, you feel, is as good as out of the tournament after his first group game. So it's Lukeman 5, Wright 0. 1 match to come this afternoon. It's the recently crowned European champion Richie Edhouse against one of the biggest 180 hitters in world darts, Ross Smith.